Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talking Habs, where you get your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge. All right, so it's the Wednesday show, and we're going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. There's not a lot of Habs news right now. Um, so there's just not a lot of Habs news. The only thing that's out there that's taking up a lot of my time is, the people trying to Habs fans trying to convince me that I should be rooting for the Leafs because it's a Canadian team and I should be rooting for them. So no, that's not happening. So your thoughts on that and anything else you guys want to talk about? We'll do that right here, and let's go see who's here. Habs Guru. This is go Panthers go, absolutely. Says it's too early in the show for me to swear right now, but F the Leafs. David, hey David, how you doing? He says he feels the same way. With all the talk about Montreal acquiring French players, it would be nice to play close to home, but might suck if there's a long points drought or lack of participation. Interesting that you mentioned that. I'm going to be talking. I got a video. I'll show you. It's prepped right here. It's about Alex Lafreniere, and they talk about the Habs acquiring him with the Florida picks heating up. So I thought I'd talk about that. That's tomorrow. Excuse me. Lucas, how's it going, man? Gabriel, not much. What's up with you, man? Stand man, go Panthers. Filibuster, how's it going? You missed my rants. What bar? I don't patron bars. um, I probably do. I do a lot better rants, like in person than I do. If I put the camera on, I can't seem to rant about anything properly. I want the video I did for this subject here. It didn't have the bite I wanted, but I thought I was putting up a YouTube short, but I realized why it's not a YouTube short. I realized that today, so hopefully I'll be doing some YouTube shorts and some actual ones. Awesome, Phil. Awesome. Tell her congratulations. He says his wife has become a nurse today. Montreal can rejoice. With the situation with the nurse, I don't know if that's congratulations or not, really, but I mean, congratulations to your wife for that. I feel for her to become a nurse. Uh, Lucas says he hasn't really performed so well. I wouldn't give too much for a laugh. Well, that's what I'm going to talk about. I mean, I don't really know that I want to get into it too much here because it gives away my video. But I'm going to try to go over those points and see what I can come up with. I did a little research on it today, and actually, when you say he hasn't really performed well, there's some controversy though to that, right? It's has he been used in ways that will help him succeed, and has he or has he not actually done well? I believe in his last 37 games of the season, he put up 21 points, and that's I mean, it's not great, but it's like a close to 50-point pace for the season. Not great, but it's an improvement. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to figure out, will he do better here under Coach Marty? What would you have to give up to get him? That kind of stuff. I don't know. My thoughts. I'll tell you. I haven't written that out yet, but my thoughts are I'm kind of on the fence. I could be probably convinced that it might be a good idea, especially if they go far. The Panthers. It's not gonna be a great pick. You're looking at 29 to 32, depending on how far they go. So yeah, I might be worth it. Gabriel, go with your feelings, your emotion. That's what sports about. Don't go and say, I'm going to root for Toronto because of the pick. No. That's how I look at it. Hey, Chuck, how you doing? Everyone knows the Leafs are Canada's team. Yeah. And it's just like Pierre Poilievre's going to make a good prime minister. Yeah, everyone knows that. When Florida clinched the playoffs, I said that would be a very tough opponent for Boston, and if I was a Bees fan, I'd be nervous. And you were right. And I think it's a little bit right. The jinx the President's Trophy jinx must be real. Stan says he saw my video on who stays, who goes. They have signed Bill Zeal. It wouldn't bother me at all. I have a feeling not, but it wouldn't bother me at all. It's funny about that video. I put that out yesterday, and I figured it should get 1,000 views. It's one of those kind of videos, should have some interest. It was doing not well. So a little over a day, a full 24 hours after, I noticed it started to pick up. It's getting 50 odd views an hour now for the last 5 hours. So now it probably will hit 1,000 views. I don't know why about 26 hours after I put it out, it started to pick up. Let's see. Did I catch Tony Marinaro podcast on Pierre-Luc Dubois? I caught just a little piece of it. Actually, I caught that, and it kicked me off into making the video I did, I think. Yeah, so I didn't see all of it. Lucas rooting for Florida because Duclair is a West Island boy. Been cheering for him last 2 playoffs. Awesome. There's a good reason. Polyev will be a prime minister, in my opinion, but let's not dwell. It's time to leave Canada. But let's not dwell. Florida could go to the final. Yeah, Florida could be a lot like the Habs when, in what year? 2021? Polyev just seems popular and basic, lowest common denominator. Popular and basic. He would have to climb 1,000-foot ladder to reach basic. He'd have to climb high just to get to a snake's belly. That's how. Yeah. Anyways, let's not get it. You want to rant? I could rant about Pierre Polyev. Hey, Adam, how's it going? Leafs are in trouble. It's a bad matchup with Florida. It might be, but if you look back in their last, I don't know how many series, so I don't know how many years it goes back, but the Leafs seem to lose the first game in a playoff series. It's something they seem to do. Now, does it mean they're not going to win? It most of the time does, but they beat Tampa. Maybe it's a change. I'm not worried. I'll see tomorrow. I want them to lose tomorrow. If the Leafs lose tomorrow, I'll feel very confident about Florida, but I'm sort of confident in Florida. Matt Tkachuk, who I don't like in general, I'm liking him against Toronto. Hey, Jethro, how's it going, man? Jethro McCheaperter, one of my favorite names of all you guys. I think Panthers could win the cup. What do you think the goalie is what? I'm not sure what you're saying there. I can't decipher that. I think Panthers could win the cup. What do you think the goalie is in his game? I'm not sure what you're saying there. I'm sorry, buddy. You got to retype that. I hope Joshua Roy will not be part of the package for PLD. This guy is someone special. Yeah, well, if they're going to trade, I hope so too. Joshua Roy, for me, you don't trade him. Phil likes that Duclair boy. He had a little bit of a rocky start, I think, to his career reputation-wise, but yeah, I mean, Duclair's been pretty good. Oh, Jeth, I didn't get that. Joy Thrill says, just saying, it'll be a cold day in hell before I cheer for the Leafs. I'm never going to cheer. I don't care what. I'm never going to cheer for the Leafs. My eyes don't even like seeing the Leafs logo or their uniform. I don't like even seeing it. I'm going to cheer for that. And listen, Adam, who's a Leafs fan, we had this out in the comments. So you can go look at, I forget what video. And he agrees with me. He hates the Habs just like I hate the Leafs, but that's healthy. And that's what's so good about the rivalry. And there's nothing wrong with that. So anybody saying we should cheer for them because, no. Not a team you hate. Not a team like your biggest rival. No. I put a tweet up on Twitter today. Cheer for the Canucks. I can do that. Cheer for the Oilers and like all of them. I can do that. Cheer for the Leafs. I will never fucking cheer for the Leafs. There you go. Pardon my French. And I say that because that's a saying, and I don't mean anything. If anybody's French out there, I don't mean anything by it. It's just one of those sayings out there. It's a stupid one, but all right, let's get back to Stand the Man. I'm doing a video about that tomorrow, as a matter of fact. I just finished getting it ready. Do I think the Habs will trade their first round pick plus young players for Lafreniere? I touch on that. When you say first round pick, if you're talking about the number 5, 6, or 7, whatever they get, no. It's the Florida pick. Hey, Dan, how you doing, man? Go Knights, go. Who are they playing? Oilers? Yeah, you see there, I'll cheer for the Oilers there. I don't mind cheering for the Oilers. If the Leafs go further, every dog has its day. Got to root against them every game. Every game. And like I said, if Adam is still here, he'll agree. He'll tell you he agrees. He doesn't cheer for the Habs. He'll never cheer for the Habs. Why would he? Yeah, Lucas, I agree with you. I don't think it's. That's why I said they beat Florida. Beat them first game. I'm not holding any water to that, or in that, whatever that saying goes, because the Leafs seem to lose the first game, and it doesn't mean the series is over. It's if they lose the second game, they're in trouble. I'll say that. And again, doesn't mean it's over. But yeah, if they lose tomorrow, but I don't think it'll go like in 4. I have a feeling it'll go 6 or 7. That's what I think. Bill, you talking about Pierre-Luc Dubois? I saw that story. He says apparently his agent told him that Montreal was preparing an offer sheet for him, and when Columbus went public about offering him an extension, he got the souks and quit on his team. The spooks, I think, is what you meant. Yeah, I kind of read something about that. And then in the draft, when the last one that was here in Montreal, so last draft, he was planning to come here, be ready, all dressed up and ready to be introduced to the crowd because he thought Montreal was going to trade for him. So there's, when you see all that and you think, yeah, there's probably something to the fact that he wants to play for Montreal. So it's more a question of, is he the kind of player we want here? What I'll say is that if Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton trade for him, I believe they'll have done their due diligence in researching him and all that, and they feel that he's a player that will be good here, and I'll trust in that. That's all I'm going to say. So if you see me with them, if they make the trade and you see that I'm okay with it, you'll know why. That this is what I'm saying. It wouldn't be me. I probably wouldn't make that trade, but if they do it, I'm going to trust that they believe he wants to be here and he has the character that they're looking for to play here. Stan, that was a surprise too, right? But look how they won those 3 games in Tampa. The 2 of them were in overtime, and they had to come from behind. Now you could look at it and say, well, they were losing and they had to come from behind, but coming from behind, good character thing, right? So, like, I don't know how to look at that, right? But it wasn't an easy win against Tampa, and I don't expect it to be easy if they beat Florida, and I don't expect it to be easy for Florida if they beat Toronto. But I was glad that Florida won the first game. What do I think the Jets have to do to get to the Stanley Cup Finals? Look, like everybody else, right? You know what I think is the most important thing, and I think. By the way, I got a new. I'm using a new phone. It's not new, but to me, it's new. To me, I think the most important thing. I don't know what that was. Is The biggest difference is here is what? Management. Jeff Gordon can't choose. You hire the right guys there, and they'll do and that's what the Jets have to do. And I think any other team, right? And then rebuild under the right management, making the right decisions. And I think that's the way to do it. Lucas says Duclair is the kid they should be trying to get news from here. But of course, I don't think his French is good, so Quebecers don't care. You know what? Think about it though. If you're looking at it like that, a guy like Duclair, French isn't that great. He kind of appeases the English side of Quebecers, right? So I could still see them going after a guy like that if they feel he's of the right character. To me, I think that's the skill, speed, character. If you don't have those, I don't think they're looking for you. I'm sorry, I'm reading Phil's comment. You've got to understand, even Toronto doesn't like the Leafs. In Toronto, they have a neat subway station with Leafs on one side and Habs on the other. Gorgeous station. The pea smelling side is very obviously the Leaf side. Never been to Toronto, so I couldn't tell you. Renegade Man, yeah, you're right. And I hate the Leafs, and because I think the Leafs players are Leafs players, in general, I don't like Leafs players. But when you do something good, I'll give you, your due. And that was a nice goal by Knees, and a patient goal. Like for a young kid like that, he had patience on that goal to stick with it. And yeah, I didn't like that goal. You know what? Speaking of that now, anybody notice William Nylander? Don't know what he was thinking. He gets a puck from the corner. He's all alone. There's nobody around. He skates away from the net and waits for. He has a clear shot on the goalie, not anybody even close to him. And he skates out towards the line and into center ice and waits for other guys to catch up, and then nothing happens. He could have scored a goal. What an idiot. I hate Nylander. Glad he's not one of our players. Chuck Samsonov is, when you say playing great, I mean, he's good. He's been playing good. Both goalies. Listen, Bobrovsky too was pretty good. Who do I think will win the Stanley Cup? Oh God, in this playoffs, who the hell knows? It's a good question. I haven't even really considered it. I know I had Boston doing it. I mean, I got 3 of the first round series. I got 3 of them right. So, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. It's too kind of up and down. I'll make a guess maybe after this round when it'll be clearer. Stan, you meant Florida's pick? Yeah, because we're not giving that first one. No. Which forward prospect do I see as expendable? Jesse Alonen, Ullinen, excuse me. I keep still pronouncing it the wrong way sometimes. I could see Ullinen if someone's interested. Hell, for the right deal, I'm gonna say, Mayshar, Beck, those kind of guys. Listen, for the right deal, if it makes your team better, you can move them. They're not my untouchables for those guys. For that. So, yeah. I don't know. I think there's a lot. I think somebody's got to move. Probably someone on defense might have to move. But it's a good thing because they're moving. If they move somebody, it's because they got a lot of. There's too many talented guys here. I think it's a good problem to have. Yeah, Kane's up 3-1 now. It's 3-1. I've got it on TV. Am I that far behind that in comments? Jeez. Adam, you should be banned for that. Adam says, "Ha, I despise the Habs." Of course, you should despise the Habs. It's my sentiment for your team exactly. But and we felt like that when I was growing up. We felt like that. But at least we could talk to. I could talk to Leafs fans. I didn't hate them. Nowadays, more often than not, man, they want to kill you. I don't like that. That's why I like Adam. Adam can take and he can dish it out too, and he's not offended by it, as you shouldn't be. Speaking of that, where was it again? Boston, when Florida beat Boston game 7. I don't know if anybody was watching. You see those two people with the Florida jerseys, like on Twitter, people saying those guys are going to get killed. I wonder what happened to them. Matt says that's not a problem though in Boston. Lucas, are the Rangers going to really give up on Laugh for high 20s? If not in the top 4, if they beat Toronto, I think it was still in the 10s, maybe, but not where it's going to be now. Okay, so when researching this, here's my thoughts on that. I don't think Gallant likes him. He's expecting a lot more from him, I guess, to fit into his system and all that, and Laugh isn't really responding. So I think it's kind of like Kirby Doc situation, and that they're going to give up on him because of other things too. There's a logjam in the top 6. He's not really going to crack that, and it's veterans. They're not super old veterans, and they're really skilled and performing. Like so yeah, I think the thing is you're not going to get him. Like I don't think you're going to get a bargain for him because they have to move him, but I think you can get him, and maybe a shark like Kent Hughes can, and plus the ties with Gordon and the Rangers, maybe they'll get a sweetheart deal somehow, if that's the case, right? But I think there is reason to say that they would want to move Laugh because of other things, not because of his potential. I think I don't think I'm saying that properly, but yeah. That's from what I can gather. It seems like he still has potential. I'm not going to say that this kid is a 70 plus point player, but I think a solid 50 point guy, maybe a 50 to 60 point guy. I think that's what Laugh probably is. And you look at his numbers in junior, they're not amazing. And guys that have his numbers in junior, if you're thinking he's going to get 80 to 100 points, I don't see that. His numbers weren't big enough for that. So, it's kind of like Slavkovsky too, right? Not a great draft year. So that's why he went number 1. He's not going to be a superstar maybe, right? So you got to look at that and say, then what are you willing to give up? But I think he's worth the first round pick, but not the first one, the second one. I don't know. Anyway, I'll give you my full. Like I'm saying, I'm not going to tell you guys and here I am telling you everything. It's mostly I'm going to run off of bullet points, kind of. So it's going to be off the top of my head. So it's a good warm up for the video. Dan says 6 games for the Panthers over the Leafs. That's what I said. The series is going to go 6 or 7. I'm not, because the Panthers won the first game. I'm not like, if I want to give like a bravo, I hate the Leafs kind of guess, I'll say, yeah, for sure. It's the Panthers. I'm not set on that yet, really, honestly, realistically. But I think it'll go 6 or 7. Not going to be a quick series. I don't see that. Jersey pulled Schmidt. That I didn't see. It's still 3-1. Huzu. I didn't know in my heart, but I'll tell you something, though. I watched the last game, and was it the first goal? And there was a point early in the game, I said, Boston's going to lose. I don't know how I knew. And it turned out I was right. It took to overtime, and I questioned it at some points, but I knew early on they were going to lose, and I can't remember what it was. Did they give up the first goal? First two, right? It was, yeah, something like that, and they're going to lose. I thought Swayman was like, he recovered pretty good, but I just knew at that point. And then I thought, there's a lot of similarities to the Panthers. They didn't back into the playoffs the way Montreal did, but there's a lot of similarities to them that I thought, yeah, they're going to beat the Leafs, and they might make a run. So, yeah, I did not hear anything about Mark Stone playing. I just noticed he was trending on Twitter earlier. I didn't know why. Phil, yeah, it's a worry. We've talked about that. If PLD's using us as leverage, I've mentioned this. I'm just going to say again what I said earlier is that if Gordon and Hughes make a deal to get PLD, I'll believe that they've done their due diligence and they believe in this guy, and he's the kind of player that we want to see here in Montreal, and I'll be okay with it. And if they don't go after him, I'm going to believe that we might have been right, or they feel that he was just using them. I don't know. We'll see how that works out. If anything happens, nothing might happen. If I'm them, I wait for free agency. I don't like. You want to be a Hab? Go to free agency. Sign one more year with Winnipeg. Go to free agency. Even if you get traded at the end, the deadline, go to free agency. We'll make a deal. You really want, and then that works better for Montreal anyway, timing wise. So if I'm the Habs and I want him, that's what I do. Mark Stone is in. Adam says, I'm really far behind. I'm sorry. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. Oh, I like this here. See, Adam says Florida's a tougher matchup for Toronto than Tampa. See, Adam's a realistic guy. As much as he hates our team, but we hate his team, and he's realistic, like we are, or at least I am. Right? I'm going to only speak for myself, but and I gave Toronto their due at the end when they beat Tampa. I gave them their due. I was live. It's real. It's being realistic and down to earth. So that's why I like Adam. We almost had an argument on comments the other with all this, but we're both realistic and it didn't get anywhere. I thought he was mad at me, and I think he might have thought I was. I don't, Adam. What did you think I was mad at you? I thought you were mad at me, but it's okay. It's no problem. We should be able to razz each other like that. Hell, that was what was so fun as kids, is razzing, and like razzing in a good sense, other people that liked other teams. I mean, it was part of the fun. I never wanted to kill anybody. Toronto media says Montreal will trade Jacky instead of Edmondson. They are idiots. They're idiots. First of all, from a cap standpoint, Edmondson makes more money, and it's only for 1 year. You're not going to have him. Arbor, who is on an ELC, you're going to have for a long time. Duh. Idiots write stuff like that. Enter tap. How's it going, man? PLD will be thoroughly explored by Hughes. I think the lottery pick will dictate whether they go after PLD. I agree with that. If we get Bedard or Fantilli, then it's not happening. 100%. If we get, honestly, if we get 1, 2, or 3, and it's such a slight chance we get 3, I don't, but it's a possibility. So if we get top 3 picks, any one of them, they're not going after PLD. And besides, anyways, I've heard a few. Where I read this, you won't see any deals happening till after the lottery. Speaking of the lottery, there's a time change. So they announced it yesterday. It's not at 7. It's going to be at 8. So 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be on air from 7, probably till 9 and maybe more. So 7 right through and after will be talked. So remember that 8 p.m. for the draft lottery. From what I remember, it doesn't take them long to go through both picks to do it. It's not a very long thing, probably 15 minutes, the whole thing. So we'll be on for an hour before and at least probably 45 minutes after. So that's on Monday. Don't forget, we're just days away from the draft lottery. And then, right, if say they drop back to 7th, I could see them thinking, well, maybe we'll make a deal for, I could see that, but not till after they know. Jethro Arbor's not going anywhere. BL, it's nothing about. Listen, a lot of players weren't whiners as juniors and got spoiled and whatever. But we've heard enough. There's enough smoke there, as they say. There's for him coming to Montreal. There's a lot of smoke. There's enough smoke. There's got to be a fire. It's the same thing with his attitude, right? There's smoke there. Is there a fire? I don't know. Would I get rid of a Chevy in Winnipeg? You're talking about Cheveldayoff? I would have got rid of him before this already because of his ties with Chicago and what happened there. So I don't know. If he's doing a good job, they might as well keep him. If he's not, get rid of him. It's really key. The right management, right GM, and right if you have a president, and you should, if you have those right guys, if they're the right guys and they know what they're doing, that's how you start a rebuild properly. BL 3-1 jersey on the board. Yeah, that's been 3-1 for a little while. I realized how long ago the comment came in, so there you go. That subway station in Toronto is called College. In College, here we have one here, Du College. Personally, I love Boston, the city. It's like Montreal, but American, totally English, and way more costly, coasty. Yeah, well, Matt, it's kind of the way Matt describes it, kind of, but you could read that into it. Yeah, well, maybe they'll the offseason they'll can the guy. Someone's going to pay the price for what's going on there. Toronto's always, well, Phil, you grew up in Montreal, did you not? I grew up in Montreal. Montreal and Toronto competed at everything. All kinds of Montreal and Toronto competed. I grew up hating Toronto, the city. And then as a Habs fan, grew up hating the Leafs for hockey. So, but I grew up hating Toronto for everything. I've never been inside Toronto. Don't care if I ever go to Toronto, and do not like the city. But it's from growing up with the competition. I think it's a healthy hate because it was competitive. I don't hate people from Toronto. I don't hate fans of the Leafs, but so I think it's healthy. Hey, Soft Guy, how you doing, man? Leafs will win Stanley Cup, of course. And I hope, I'm going to read into it. He says it this way. Leafs will win the Stanley Cup, of course. Sarcastically. If not, that's a bannable offense, Soft Guy. I just want you to know. Do you think the Knights will win the Stanley Cup? I do not have any idea. I just actually said I'm going to wait till after this second round before I give another guess for the Stanley Cup winner. Hey, David, of course you'll never. If you're a real Leafs Habs fan, why would you cheer for the Leafs? Boston reminds me of Halifax, only 3 times as big. Well, there you go. A lot of Irish down there. Anderson needs to be moved if we can get a first, says Phil. I say no. Who stays and who goes? I give my reasons. You might want, I don't know, people might want to watch it. Look for this thumbnail. It's out there. Who stays, who goes? Came out yesterday, and I go through I think it's like 18 players. who I think will stay, who I think who I think will go. It's a smaller list, and who I think will stay. It's a bigger list. And yeah, I thought it was nicely done too. I used really nice overlays, and it's starting to get some really good action. Let's see. Yeah, it's still doing well. It's almost at 500, and it's rare a video you put out a video, and 24 hours later, it picks up. Like, and the first 24 hours wasn't that popular. It's rare that happens, and this one did that. So I'm happy with it. Um, just so this is something I'll just play this for you. I don't mind the voiceover on it, but it's from the Who Stays Who Goes video. It's the intro. I put this together in case some of you don't watch it. I want you to see the intro. It doesn't take long. Let me know what you think. For the Montreal Canadiens, the offseason is here and decisions have to be made. The draft lottery, the actual draft, and the free agent frenzy are fast approaching. Which Montreal Canadiens players will still be wearing a Habs uniform next season and which ones won't? Here's what I think. Yeah, when you play it in here, it doesn't show the last frame, which is Mike Pizzetta with his wild eyes. Anyway, I really like this intro that I put together. There you go. Bragging a little bit. What do you guys think of that intro? I'm going to get down here. Hey, Rick Bengal. Rick says, I hate the Leafs more than death, but I win 12,356 when the Leafs win the cup. If those guys win this, Habs fans will make money from it to ease the pain. Listen, betting on them to win the cup is not the same as cheering for them, right? So I bet you couldn't stomach cheering for them. But I guess with that kind of money on the line, maybe then, right? Even then, I don't know if I could stomach it. Vegas reporting no injuries. Why is that the thing? Oh yeah, okay. Mark Stone, yeah. Phil, I could get you for spamming. Please don't do that kind of stuff. You watch Kubrick's. What's FMJ? I don't know what movie is that. I can't. I'm not getting which movie is that. Because I don't get as many chances to do this. I don't want to miss this. Didn't want to miss that opportunity. Bob Cannon in the house. Hey, Bob. Really believe there is some serious shit going down in Winnipeg. I think so too. Goes way back to Bufflin retiring early, Paul Maurice resigning, and Line A trade for PLD. PLD wants out. Bonus post press. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of shit there. So it wouldn't shock me if they clear house there. Yeah, I love the Expos. Jesma says he even cheered for the Expos. I'm from Ontario, but close to the border with Quebec. Most fans here love Montreal teams, but there's an unhealthy amount of Toronto and Boston fans, not just in hockey. Listen, you're allowed to like who you like. It's just how, like, do you allow other people to, feel the same way? You're saying Toronto downtown. Well, people aren't as nice. That's for sure. Strip clubs aren't the same. Habs Guru, I don't know, but I heard he says didn't Joel Quenneville and Stan Bowman get cleared to be rehired in the NHL? I heard talk though about Quenneville should be getting a job, so maybe they did. If the price is right for Anderson, then it may happen. But I think the price would be an overpayment. I don't think it's going to happen. Pizzetta, that he did look like a, a serial killer. Yeah, that's like his official pick from that's what I got. I think only two guys I couldn't get it, but I got like the same pick because it was their official Habs pick with the white background. Anyways, I thought it was an interesting opening. Full Metal Jacket. Oh, okay. Good movie. Always welcome, Bob. No worries. Any truth behind the rumor that Cole Caulfield wants 8 times 11? I've not heard that. But maybe that's what's holding up the contract. I kind of said he's probably asking for 10 when I heard the problems. People thought I'm nuts, but maybe it is true. I don't know, but I haven't heard anything about that. Bob, I don't know. Maybe it's Pierre-Luc Dubois. I suspect it's Scheifele. I know Scheifele apparently wants out. Hellebuck said, well, he's not interested in a rebuild, and his contract, he's got one more year left. Yeah, I think it's the GM. I suspect. Wow, I got to the bottom of the comments. Am I online still? What happened? Just joking. If you're having a good time, please give a thumbs up. I appreciate that. The Toronto Montreal rivalry is bigger for Toronto. Montreal's biggest rival, aside from Quebec, is Boston. No, Montreal. It depends on your generation, right? For my generation, Toronto's the bigger rival. Because for me, I hate Boston, but I hate Toronto in capital letters. There's a different hate. I could cheer for Boston, and I was at the beginning of the Florida series. I was, and I can stomach that. I can't stomach cheering for Toronto. Lived in Toronto for 37 years, and you're still saying you didn't have to go to the hospital? No, just joking. Thailand, that's interesting. That's interesting and kind of for me random, but I would imagine something would have you for going there. 64. Oh, are you so you're retired? So I see. I'm 60, so we're close in age. Stan the man, I'll agree with you. Nothing beats Nordique's Habs rivalry, but it's not around anymore. If the Nordiques were still here, I would say that's the biggest and best rivalry, but they're not. So Toronto is the next best one. And even if the Nordiques were here, I'd still hate Toronto. It's not going to change that. I hated the Nordiques too. I hated the Nordiques as well. But man, I'd love that rivalry to come back. I'd love it. That's the greatest rivalry. Even Toronto, Montreal, great games. Montreal and Quebec, that was a Stanley Cup final game 7 every time they played. And that's what I loved about it. And in the city, we talked about it a lot. There was a lot, of atmosphere about, and it just was such a fun time. Yeah, Entertap, I think everybody's different that way, right? It's fine. A lot of people tell me Bruins are worse ride for them, but I'm talking for me only. And I'm not telling you who to like more or less or just talking for me. Boston Montreal became a little bit bigger because over the say since the 90s, let's say the 90s, Toronto wasn't really good enough. And then we didn't play them either in the playoffs for the longest time. And we played the Bruins every year, it seemed like. So that's why. But we dominated that. So that's why I don't hate the Bruins as much. But Toronto, Montreal, I told you, I have more than just hockey for that hatred. It's more than hockey. Born to be a Hab. I saw that mentioned on Twitter today. What about Corey Perry coming back to Montreal? He's a UFA. Doesn't look like he's going back to Tampa, and he says he's got more hockey left in him. On a 1-year deal, if he'd come back, Corey Perry wouldn't bother me coming back. I don't dislike him anymore. I actually have a lot of respect for that guy. If he feels he's got a year left and they want to do it, I don't think Montreal's going to sign him, though. Stand a man any game, but yeah, in the playoffs, it was even amped up even more. But every game they played, regular season or not, it was a Game 7 Stanley Cup final game. But yeah, I think Corey Perry's Habs career is done. As I just said, I don't think they're going to sign him, but he is available. But no, I'm still going to say though, Rick, Boston, Montreal in the 70s wasn't for me as a Montrealer, wasn't as big, wasn't as hateful as Toronto, Montreal for me. And I loved Bobby Orr. I did. I loved Bobby Orr as a kid. I still think Bobby Orr the best player ever to play the game. You could think I'm nuts, and that's fine, but I still think Bobby Orr was the best player ever. Perry would be a good fit in Ottawa, someone closer to a playoff spot. No, I know I get that point, but I don't think that's close enough. For me, I think Perry wants to go to a contender. He wants to win another cup. I don't blame the guy. He's almost at the end of his career. But yeah, I know we agree on that. I've seen you mention it before, and we do agree on that. Best ever to lace him up. I think yeah. Man, that guy could do. Bobby Orr could do anything anybody could do. Probably faster speeds. Yeah, at full speed. Like at full speed, Bobby Orr could do everything. And if he didn't want you to get the puck, man, you were not getting the puck. Rick, I like the way you spelled Toronto. Toronto. Yeah, I like that better. For some reason, that just sounds nicer for them. It's more perfect. They were our rivals for everything. Everything. Dan, that one, I'm cheering for the Oilers. I have no idea, like I've not researched it or have any like particularly brilliant input, but I have no problem to cheer for the Oilers, and I'm going to cheer for the Oilers against the Knights. Enter tap. It's the hurt. Everyone gets hurt. It was the surgeries. I think if the surgery techniques on the knee was better, like today's standard, he'd had a longer career, obviously, and the numbers would have been incredible, without a doubt. Bobby Orr, I'm sorry, was the best player ever. And if you tell me Wayne Gretzky for you, that's fine. I wouldn't argue. It's a personal thing, right? I'm not going to go. You're an idiot. It's Bobby Orr. I think there's a few names you can say, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't believe it personally, but I mean, I'm fine that people think it could be Howe, it could be Gretzky, it could be Richard, like those names. Yeah, it's legit. Whatever happened to ragging the puck? I'm not sure what you mean by that. To kill a penalty. I've heard the term. I'm not sure what it means anymore. Is that what Bobby Orr did? Is that what you're talking about? Keep just holding on to the puck. You can't get it from me. Yeah, but nobody could do it like him, though, right? It's a good advice. All the younger folk don't know Bobby Orr. YouTube. There's lots of highlights. He was crazy good. Although the kids today, right? They see hockey today. It's so much faster. The skill level is so much better. You look back at the old video and go, man, that's slow, right? So you kind of had to be there. Oh yeah, Orr could fight. Yeah, you didn't want to fight Bobby Orr. Amazingly strong. Yeah, ragging the puck is holding on to it. Nobody did it like him. I'd love to see the Oilers make it to the finals. I could get behind the Oilers for the cup. Why not? Not going to bother me. Not going to become an Oilers fan, but why not? Or at a plus minus of nearly 120 1 year. I don't know who leads that. Is it Bobby Orr? I know Robinson also had crazy plus minus numbers. Like I'm talking about career numbers now. Look at his career numbers; they're crazy. Rick, but yeah, or we used to say Bobby Orr, he didn't need anybody else out on the ice to kill a penalty. He could do it all by himself. He a lot of times didn't need anybody on the ice to score a goal either. I almost got to meet him 1 year, almost. Enter tap and David, Larry Robinson. I'm not sure. May have the highest plus minus numbers, or it could be Bobby Orr. Someone's got like crazy numbers. They all do. They're crazy numbers. You didn't score a lot when those guys were on the ice. Not very much at all. Hey, Derek, Larry does what? Larry has the highest numbers. I think Larry does. Orr's not far behind him. What I think is Larry's got something like plus 795 or something like that, and Orr plus five something for the career. I think, and my numbers could be really low. I'm not sure. It's off the top of my head. I'm a little bit elevated right now. I wonder if YouTube understands it that way. Oh, you can't put links. Links won't go in the description in the comments. Sorry about that, Rick. We don't allow links in the comments. It's simple. Go to YouTube, type in Bobby Orr highlights. You're gonna get a lot. Derek, do you know what the numbers are for Larry? Did I get them at all close? Orr has 1 year at plus 124, and Robinson had 1 year at plus 120. But what's the career numbers? BL says he was never a big fan of too many Leafs players. No, neither me. But he liked Gilmore, Doug Gilmore. I liked him too, and he played here. He was a Hab too, and loved Wendell Clark. You had to respect Wendell Clark. Good player. Like and you know what we accuse the Leafs of? They don't have it here, and they don't. They're not physical. Wendell Clark, man, that was a player. So Larry's numbers are plus 722 for his career, and Bobby 582. See, I knew it was seven and five in the fives. Like I knew though, I just didn't know exactly where. So not that much of a difference, but I mean, I look at those numbers. Who has those kind of career plus minus numbers? Even if you argue that plus minus, that doesn't mean anything. Those numbers, when you got them like that, that means you weren't on the ice for very many goals against. That's what that means. All right, what else are we going to talk about? I don't have much. I've been working on on videos lately. Like I put out 3 yesterday, short ones. One longer one and 2 short. Bork had 527. Another great defenseman. BL says Clark was 5'10", 185, but he fought them all. And listen, Chris Nyland wasn't a big guy. He fought them all. Same thing. Same kind of same kind of toughness there, Wendell Clark. I thought he was bigger though. Honestly, 5'10". I'm a little surprised he was not over 6 feet. Played like he was. Oh, that's an interesting stat. And you know what? I had heard that and I'd forgotten. This is very true, apparently. They only started keeping the plus minus since 1972. Bobby Orr started his career 67, maybe earlier. I'm not sure what year, but it was in the 60s. His numbers were probably higher than Robinson in reality. Robinson started in 71 or 72. So he has that's all, his whole career. Gretzky was 4th at plus 520. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that Gretzky didn't have these awful plus minus numbers. And I've lost a lot of respect for Gretzky, but it doesn't change what I just said. As a player, when he was on, like I have total respect for him as a player. It's just this bullshit with the betting now. And because of the betting is not why I don't think Gretzky's the best ever. I've always thought Bobby Orr was the best, and I've said it many times. All right, I can't believe I got down to all the comments. Look at that. We're only an hour in. Feels early. Anyways, anything you guys want to talk about? Anything. Or only had a 9 or 10, I think it was 10 years because of his knees. He had, he had a lot of knee trouble. I think it was because of all the twisting and turning he did, apparently, and the hits he'd take while he was in, a position where his knees were under stress. But they didn't have really, the surgical techniques back then were not like today. And if the surgeries, if they weren't as brutal, he'd have played a lot longer. And that's why you look at his numbers and they're not amongst the best, but it's only like 9 years plus a little bit for the 10th. Like he played only very little. Bobby Orr started 66, 67. So my first one was right. 67, I said. Close enough. Lafleur was 11th at plus 446. Awesome way to go, Guy. Bobby Orr was fun to watch. And when I was a kid growing up, everybody who was playing defense, they were all Bobby Orrs. Everybody was Bobby Orr. And if they didn't say it, they were thinking it in their head. BL, I did. I've got it on where PK is on the panel in intermission. That's what I'm watching. And today I was, I would have thought he got a little bit of what he said, and I don't know in what context because I don't know exactly what they were talking about. But he said about some player that he needs to bring a Lizzo-sized lunch with him. Bit of a diss at Lizzo, right? Personally, I don't care, but in a way, I do. I know she's a big girl. PK Subban shouldn't be making fun of somebody like that. No, you shouldn't be doing that. So that was a little, I like PK and all that, but that was not a good thing by him. Oh, wrong phone. Yeah, my old phone still. I got to transfer all my phone numbers. So that's my old phone. I didn't put an alarm on my new one. If Bobby played today, it would be scary what he could make per year. Yeah, and what kind of numbers? If you take a Bobby Orr skill, train with like today's players, right? With today's equipment, all that stuff, Bobby Orr would have been crazy good. Like crazy good. I can't even imagine how good Bobby Orr would have been today if he came around today. Enter tap is right. The max he could make is 20% of the cap. He'd be making, he'd be making Connor McDavid money. That's what he'd be making. And he'd be putting up Connor McDavid points too. If he could put up points in his day that were equal to all the top players, then he could be up there with anybody today if he was here today. Nathan McKinnon money. What's McKinnon making? Is he the top player? Whoever's making the top money, I just figured McDavid's making right up there. He'd be making 10, 15, 12 to 15 million. But I mean, what's that? I mean, it's just money. That's not, we don't look at who are the greatest players by what their money they were making. It's what production he'd have had. Whoever the best defenseman is, what Adam Fox? Everyone's saying now Adam Fox probably or Makar, or would have been better. So what are they coming back for the second period? I guess. What time are we? Third period. Hey Matt, how you doing? Been a while. I feel. Do I think Kent is doing finger exercises to get ready? You mean for? Uh, you know what? I have a lot of trust in our management group. So whatever he needs to do to be ready, I'm sure he's doing that. And I think they're all doing their due diligence in scouting. And if anybody they're looking to acquire, they're doing their due diligence. I was saying earlier, because you just got here, I'll tell you again, like with the PLD situation, if they acquire Pierre-Luc Dubois, I've got to believe they've done their job in making sure that he is the type of player that they want here. So, but I don't think they're going to acquire him. And not saying it's because he's not. I don't think they're going to acquire him because it doesn't make sense to right now. It makes sense to wait for him to be in free agency one more year. Nothing wrong with that. Matthews' next contract is going to push past McKinnon and McDavid, probably. Derek says he heard Frank Mahovlich say one day, or had two speeds, fast and faster. And it's funny because if you go back and watch his videos, you're gonna go, "That's fast." Like I've watched plenty of old games and videos and stuff, and it's crazy the difference in the speed from then to today. It doesn't. If you look at it and you're not experienced, you'd think they weren't as good back then. No, they were. It's just training, coaching, equipment, and ice are all better today. And not only that, like even the way they eat and take care of themselves is way better today. Derek, I mean, there's a lot of players that were fast. There were a lot of players that were fast. Mario, yeah, you've seen him. How many breakaways he got? He had to be pretty fast. Beal says he worked with a guy who had two speeds, slow and frigate. I work with people like that too. That's funny. I'd rather the fast and faster, maybe depending on what you're doing for work, but for hockey, definitely. But the kids today, man, they're all so fast. It's crazy how fast they do things too. So when Bobby Orr, who could do everything at full speed, imagine with the training today and at the full speed they'd be today, and this guy could probably do that. He'd be the best, maybe the best player in the league as a defenseman. But we won't know because it won't happen. All right, what can we talk about that I've got happening? So I'll just remind you, I got this video happening tomorrow. It's going to be about the rumors right now starting to happen with Alexis Lafreniere and Montreal's Florida pick. I'm going to talk about that. So look for that. That should be out by the afternoon tomorrow. I've got it already. Just have to film and edit, which not that much. What else? Saturday. We'll have Saturday. And also next week, I don't think it's going to be this Saturday because I've got a lot up, but the following Saturday, I'm going to be having somebody on the show that you guys don't know, but he's someone I follow on Twitter, and he always makes me laugh. Just small little things like that. And he's a big Habs fan, and I invited him on the show, so I think you guys will like him, and I'll be meeting him for the first time as well. And yeah, it's going to be fun. So that's not this Saturday. It'll be the Saturday after. It might be the Wednesday, depending on his schedule, but I would like it to be the Saturday. So we'll look forward to that. And I'm working on a bunch of different video ideas. I'm hoping to have regular videos coming out for the foreseeable future anyway. And I don't know if I'm going to take any time off. I was planning to. I'm probably going to take a week off somewhere after. I'm not sure. Somewhere after the lottery and before the draft. Derek says, used to go up Sunday nights to the old forum to watch the junior Canadians. Watching Perreault scary. You're talking about Gilles Perreault. I mean, Gilles Perreault was a great hockey player too. Bob, you're 100% right. Players actually use training camp as a way to get back into shape. Very few players worked out in the off season, unless they lived on a farm or something. In general, they didn't work out in the off season. Bobby Dennis Hull worked on it there. I didn't read that part yet. Many others had off-season jobs, insurance and shit like that. Yeah, 100%. Who was it? Trig Wilson. He's a hockey writer. He put something up on Twitter. It was an old video of exactly that. What do NHL players do in the off-season? It was really funny. It was like 5 of the players of the day, and they're showing them on their jobs. BL, what actor? What are you talking about? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Bob says because salaries were so low, and they were thanks to NHL owners in part. Gordie Howe. Gordie Howe. Yeah, he refused to be part of the first attempt at a union. In a way, he was right because it didn't come off. I don't know if it didn't. To say it didn't come off because of Gordie Howe, I don't know. But the guys who did try kind of got punished by being sent to shitty teams. So it took longer for them to get that free agency stuff and better pay. Oh, my guess, an actor? No, not an actor. The only thing I listen, I don't know a ton about him. He makes me laugh all the time, and I've been following him for a little while. He is the owner of a legendary mustache. Yeah, I can say that. But no, he's not an actor. He's not famous. He's just a guy. He's just a Habs fan. He makes me laugh. I'm probably going to start doing stuff like that. So, Orr said in an interview with Mansbridge, who was the hardest guy to check? Perot had no idea where he was going. I don't. What do you mean? So Perot was the hardest guy to check? They were fast. Guy Lafleur could skate, and there were some fast guys in the day. But even you look at them today on video, and they're not. They don't look fast. Bob, yeah. I think that is how. Back in the day, I mean, you had no control. The owner, they told you what you're making. That's it. If you didn't like it, there's the door. Derek, maybe that's what made Perot so great. He was so unpredictable, and he didn't give up. He didn't give up. He didn't give himself away at all. I guess. I see. So you're saying if Gordie Howe would have asked for good increases every time, it would have brought everybody else's money up. Yeah, maybe. And I also know he didn't want to join the movement for the union. He did not want to unionize. It's the reason why Doug Harvey got traded to the Rangers from Montreal because he was part of that. Ted Lindsay, I think, got traded. Who else? There were a few players, and they got traded afterward. Gordie's wife actually pushed for the beginning of the players' union with Eagleson, but that was after the first attempt, right? And listen, Eagleson was a piece of goddamn work, right? But at least they got the union started. But Eagleson was like, there was a crook right there. Yeah, that's some old stuff, though, eh? That's getting into some really old stuff, but a little before my time. But I've read some history about it. Derek, you went to Doug Harvey's hockey school in TMR in 1968. Wow, awesome! So you met Doug Harvey. I never even went to Harvey's bar, so I never got to meet him. That's awesome. Bob, he was good to get the union started, but I mean, he was basically colluding with the owners to keep salaries down, even after all that, wasn't he? And then actually, I think he was agent for a lot of these guys, and he was stealing their money. Didn't he do that to Bobby Orr? He stole his money. Anyways, he's got what he deserved in the end. He fucked around and he found out. I'm not even looking at the score. I can't see it right now, but I don't even know who's winning. That's commercial, so I'm not going to find out. He went to prison and he got taken out of the Hall of Fame, and he got what he deserved. He got disbarred. So crime doesn't necessarily pay, does it? It pays for a little while sometimes, and then it doesn't. Derek, I am in Dorval, but I've lived not in the East End at all, but I've lived in a bunch of different places in Montreal. A lot in NDG, Côte de Neige, Saint Laurent. It's not on the east side. But we're all on the island, so it's all the same. I'm from the home city, as I always say, which means I have access to all the good gear. Well, I don't have very much of it. You were born in NDG, like my ex-wife. Born and raised in NDG. I'm the one that took her actually away from NDG for the first time in her life. I don't think she had lived anywhere else. And if she did, it was very brief. And I took her out of NDG to the West Island, and now she loves the West Island. Born and raised. I think most of her life too. She lived on Sherbrooke Street, right near what's right near. What's the? I know. I'm gonna say I don't know why Hingston. It wasn't like Hingston, but a few blocks away from Hingston in Sherbrooke. I don't know why the streets like the corner's not popping up in my head. Uh, you know what? I live in the West Island for a long time now. Every time I go back, even into NDG, it's not. It's too busy there. There's too many people. It's dirty. It's not the same. I like it out here. I could tell that Bornaby Ab. I could tell by the name you use. Yes. So okay, two notification, one on each phone. It's got to be the same one. What the hell? Listen, I'm using another newer phone. I got to get used to. I got to get used to how it works. All right, I'm gonna stay till I guess another 12 minutes, so till 9:30. So we got another 12 minutes for tonight. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm into that. Oh, look at my shirt. What the hell's that? Why did it get like that? My green screen. I'm wearing yellow. My green screen green. Is it having trouble? Maybe I made my green screen thing high. It doesn't know colors now, dude. Sadly, you live in Canucksville, so you're out in BC. Canucksville have to be BC. I've never been out there. I've never been past Ontario. I don't think in Canada, I don't think I've been outside Quebec and Ontario, to be very honest. Rick just lives in a yellow submarine, in an octopus's garden in Dorval. Still can't sing. I've never been to BC. You went past Bedard's house, really? You're stalking him. We're not getting Bedard. At least I'm going to keep saying that in the hopes that I'm wrong and we get him. The Rockies, I'd like. Well, if you're talking about, where I'd like to go in Canada, I'd like to see, although not the province that it's in, but Banff. I'd like to go out there and see that. Oh, should close that up. Still 3-1, by the way. They're halfway through the third, so New Jersey better get their asses in gear. Yeah, Derek, Banff and Jasper. Yeah, I'd be fine with seeing both. There's not a lot of other places, literally, like in Canada. I'm not a big traveler. I don't like to travel, so. But I'd like to go see. It's 4-1 now. Yeah, that game's over. It's 4-1. Oh, see, Bob's cutting there. I'd like to go to the east. Like I'd like to see the Maritimes, and I'd like to see Newfoundland. But that's it. I definitely don't really want to go to Alberta or Saskatchewan. Um, yeah, Manitoba. I don't know. Doesn't really interest me that much. And Ontario is quickly becoming enough like the States without the gun problem, that I don't really want to go to Ontario either. God, you get sick in Ontario, you might as well die. Oh, sounds nice, Bob. On a train, that must be really like the sights must be pretty incredible. Must be a nice drive cross country. I'd like to do that, like, but not like I don't know. I'm not a traveler. I don't know why. I just don't like. I don't like being away from home much. Don't know why. It's who I am. So let's see. We got about 8 minutes to go. If there's anything you want to know, I'll remind you. My shirt looks weird. I'll remind you that on Monday, the draft lottery is at 8 p.m., has been moved from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. No explanation as to why. They need extra time to fix it, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that's what's happening. So we'll be on the air 7 p.m. for the live show. And yeah, we're going to stay probably be on for 2 hours. If the Habs don't win the lottery, I'm hoping for Will Smith. Kind of doubt Will Smith will be will be available. Here's something interesting. There was a Russian player that bought out his contract with the KHL, and um, he was a Capitals prospect. So, and he was able to join the team. So if that's possible and Michkov can do that, that kind of changes a lot of things at the draft. I still don't like if that's possible. Michkov might not drop, and then Smith probably drops down a little bit by one, but unless we get fifth, I don't know that we're going to get him. So, but Will Smith, I'd be very happy with Will Smith. What's a bunger? Just hope Montreal doesn't drop to 6 or 7. Odds are that they will. Well, you got to figure probably they are, right? But it depends. So, if the both picks come from below them, it's possible. Then they don't move. And if they come from behind them, then they move back 2. And if it's only 1 and 1, then they move back 1. So more than likely, it's 5, 6, or 7. That's where they're picking. You have a name for? Oh, that's what you call Gary Bunger. Yeah, that's a good name for him. Yeah, I hate that guy. Nope, not a fan of Gary Bettman. I call him Gary Evilman. But any name other than his actual name is acceptable. That's for sure. All right, looks like we're winding down with the questions. If you got more comments, send them to me now because I'm leaving in about 5 minutes. It fits Derek because everything that comes out of his mouth is shit, and he should be carrying toilet paper with him so he can just wipe it away. So it fits, yeah. The Oilers game going to be starting soon. What? I guess in a half hour. Right? I think it's a 10 o'clock start. Maybe it's a 9:30 start. I don't know. So I don't want to wind down being so boring. So listen, I'm going to take off now. Just a couple minutes before. I'll be back on Saturday for the Saturday show, and I will have a video out tomorrow about Lafreniere and the Habs and whatever. Hopefully, you guys will check that out. And that's it. Thanks everybody for being here. A lot of fun, and we'll do that again on Saturday. And I don't know. There's a lot of time left in the evening. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'll see you soon. And please don't forget about the draft lottery on Monday. And hopefully you'll join us for that, and we'll maybe celebrate. Who knows? All right. That's it. Till next time, stay safe out there. Peace out, y'all. See you soon. Ciao, everybody. Have a good rest of the evening. Keep your stick on the ice. Go Habs, go. Right now, actually, go Panthers, go. Ciao.